Hello, my name is Becky, and I was voted prettiest girl in my high school yearbook. My best friend Hailee was good looking too, but everyone knew her as the rich girl because her dad's chauffeur always drove her to school in really expensive SUVs. We were inseparable until 12th grade. That's when she confessed that she had a crush on me. I gotta admit, it weirded me out a bit. I mean, I like girls too, and Hailee is pretty hot, but I just prefer boys. So I told her, hey, I'm not really interested in a relationship with a girl, but I hope we can stay friends. Well, that didn't work out because suddenly she couldn't keep her hands off of my body. When she sat next to me in chemistry class, she would always put her hands under my skirt and massage my thighs. And one time she even pulled up my underwear, which really hurt. She was so annoying that I finally gave in and said, okay, let's start dating for a few weeks, but don't get your hopes up. Well, being in a relationship with her turned out to be much better than I had thought, but not because I loved her, but because she was so rich that I could quit my side job. Suddenly, I had so much free time, and I loved it, even though Hailee was super possessive. She always sent me annoying messages like, "Where are you?" or "I miss you." Anyway, when I went to college, I got to know this really cute boy. He was incredibly handsome, and the more we talked to each other, the more I realized that I actually wanted to be with a guy. That's why I told Hailee, hey, you know I like you a lot, but recently I realized that I'm more into boys. She responded, I see that you're confused, so just give me some more time to convince you otherwise. I said, okay, let's try some more time. But I already knew that our relationship wouldn't work out. I only stayed with her so I didn't need to get a side job again. Of course, I felt bad about exploiting her, but she wasn't an angel either. She made clear that she was the boss in our relationship because I depended on her money. Her favorite thing was to dress me up in costumes. And then she would give me orders like, be a cat. And then I would have to act like a cat while she would pet me. I kinda enjoyed it too, but I always had to do all the work, which was super tiring. Meanwhile, I started to spend a lot of time in college with this super cute guy, Patrick. We flirted with each other constantly, and one day he just kissed me. I said, why did you do that? And he responded, I thought you liked me. I mean, you always act like you're completely into me. I said, well, I do like you, but I'm already in a relationship. He responded, what? And then I told him about my girlfriend and how I tried to break up with her, but she wouldn't let me go. That's when he kissed me again, and this time I let him. And it felt so much better than kissing Hailee. That's why I did something pretty bad. While Hailee went to her parents over the weekend, I invited Patrick over to her house. At first, we were just lying in bed talking, but we quickly went further, taking off our clothes and making out passionately. That's when Hailee opened the door and screamed, you bastard! Take your hands off of her! I gotta be honest, I was surprised that she was angry at him and not at me. She came to our bed and jumped on Patrick, trying to beat him up. Of course, he was much stronger than her, so he laughed while wrestling with her. It was so bizarre. But Hailee was seriously angry. When she realized she couldn't hurt him, she took a lamp and threw it at him. Luckily, he pulled his blanket up in time so the lamp didn't hit him, but Hailee was turning into a complete psycho and I got scared. I wanted to leave her house, but I felt like I owed her an apology. But before I could say anything, she said, okay, I get it, you don't love me the way I love you. And I responded, yes, but it was still wrong for me to betray you with some guy. She said, no, I don't care anymore. If you want to date this guy, go ahead. But here's my offer. What if you date both of us? In exchange, I will let you continue to live here and I will continue to pay for all your expenses. Well, that sounded like a pretty sweet deal, so I said yes. But afterward, she started treating me like a servant. She would lie in bed and tell me to bring her a sandwich, or she'd make me give her a massage. Of course, I always had to dress in a way that aroused her, but her weirdest thing was using me as a plate to eat from. For example, she would put spaghetti on my belly or on other parts of my body and eat them from there. It felt like I had two jobs, college and being her sugar baby. Anyway, one day Hailee gave me a sleep mask and said she had a surprise. When she told me to take it off again, I saw her sitting on my boyfriend Patrick's lap. Of course, I got angry because I wanted to have a serious relationship with Patrick. But now it was all about, you know what. When I refused to sleep with both of them at the same time, they got really angry and started insulting me. Patrick even went on his knees, begging me to change my mind. Jeez, he had such a cute face that I just couldn't say no and gave in. But guess what? While I didn't enjoy being with both of them at the same time, Hailee developed a taste for my boyfriend. Suddenly, she was inviting him over to her house every single weekend. And one time they met up without even telling me about it. Suddenly, I felt jealous and thought that Hailee was trying to steal my boyfriend away from me. So I gave Patrick an ultimatum. Either he would exclusively date me or Hailee. However, he responded, "I will think about it." And that was definitely the wrong answer. At this point, I'm sick of both of them. And as soon as I graduate college, I'll break up with both of them. Life's hard when you're a single mom. I fell pregnant when I was 16, and my daughter's father said he didn't want to be a parent so young, so he dumped me when I wouldn't have a termination. I dropped out of school when I had the baby. I called her Tamsin. It was tough taking care of her alone. She didn't seem like other children. She needed a lot of extra care. When she was 5, she was diagnosed with autism, which explained her behavior, but it didn't make things easier for me. I was 22, no college degree, no job, nothing. One day, I was looking through Craigslist for ways to make money. I found an ad which said, "Well-off 45-year-old male looking for a lady that likes to be well treated. We can start with coffee and exchange resumes. Your time is valuable, and I'll make sure you don't feel undercompensated. Hoping for a drama-free, mutually beneficial arrangement." It was obvious he was looking for a sugar babe. I'd never seen myself dating an older guy, but I was struggling to find work and still take care of my daughter, so I decided to send him a message, even though there wasn't a photo so I could see what he looked like. As I got ready to meet him, I felt really nervous, but I told myself it was going to be fine. I was doing this to build a better life for Tamsin. We met at a Starbucks, and he said his name was Mark. He was nothing like I expected. He wasn't 45. He was in his 50s and overweight. Still, Mark was easy to talk to, so although I wasn't attracted to him, I figured we'd get on okay. His 2 kids were grown up, and he'd been divorced for years. At the end of our first date, he said, "We should go out for dinner. I know a few good restaurants." I still wasn't sure I wanted a sugar daddy, but I said yes anyway. The restaurant we went to was incredible. My food cost over $100, and it tasted amazing. It was a nice place, but Mark was rather boring. I didn't really want to kiss him afterwards, but I did it anyway. Then he flew me and Tamsin first class to Hawaii. We stayed at a beautiful resort. It was lovely, but he spent so much money on me, I kind of felt guilty, like I owed him something, you know? Still, at least my money worries were over. Mark and I started seeing each other, but he didn't want us to move in together. Instead, he gave me a condo in the city and just came by whenever he wanted. He paid me a $6,000 monthly allowance. He even bought me a Lexus. I gotta admit, I loved my new life. I sent Tamsin to a private kindergarten and started taking some college courses. Finally, things were turning around for me. We dated for 2 years, until he suddenly dropped me. I think he started seeing a younger woman, but all he said was, "I'm sorry, but I'm gonna end this." I didn't argue. I mean, it wasn't like there was a ring on my finger. But suddenly I had nothing. I hadn't graduated yet, and I'd never had a job. Who was going to hire me? I was so desperate. I signed up for a sugar babe website. This time, it didn't go so well. I met up with this guy. Let's call him George. He was in his late 40s, and from the moment I met him, I had a bad feeling. I was too desperate to care, though, so I started dating him. He wasn't quite as rich as Mark, but at least he gave me enough money to stay in college. But he was always demanding. I came to see him whenever he wanted, and he asked where I'd been if I didn't show up straight away. If I went out with friends, he'd get really jealous. I felt like he wanted to control me. When he gave me an engagement ring after just 3 months, I knew I had to leave before I was in too deep. I texted him saying, "Sorry, but it won't work out." George went nuts. He came over and tried to break down my door. I had to call the cops to get him to leave. Yeah, he was a controlling maniac. I should never have started seeing him. In the end, I took out a big loan to finance my degree and cover my bills. But it was worth it. Now I'm working in an office with a stable salary, and I don't have to rely on a man to take care of me. Do I recommend finding a sugar daddy? Absolutely not. It's dangerous. A lot of those guys are troubled and just want to control the women they're with. But maybe, if I was having money problems, I'd do it again. You just don't know what's going to happen.